Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is a Friday, the 22nd of July, and a very happy TGIF to all of you out there. Across the frontier, African markets, this is how we finished off on Thursday. A little bit of mixed sessions, as it were, with Nigerian markets cruising to the weekend on the negative side. The shares of Lafarge Africa fell yesterday roughly 2%. The shares of Jitco also fell on Thursday, dragging the main bourse. Insurance made a bit of a good showing on the counter, and that helped the insurance sector index up roughly 1%. In BRVA, the composite index fell by 13 basis points, 1.94%, a very strong finishing line for the week. Thursday, on the Egyptian bourse, investors today more than $50 million in net transaction value. The Nairobi bourse went up roughly 1%, a very big comeback, 135.07. We got some big names such as the big banks in the Standard Bank Group also leading yesterday's trading. They're up roughly about 6%. And the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, the financials, listed companies, Absa, Netbank, and a few others, Vivo Energy contributed to that 0.38% gain on the GSE on Thursday to 67,907. On the day that South Africa Central Bank raised interest rates by 75 basis points, that took its repo rate to 5.5%. But that's the biggest news yesterday in terms of interest rate on the frontier Africa. But let's get a bit off into what's making the headlines. And as always, we're starting from the East Coast, where you got Kenya deferring plans to refinance very early its 2024 Eurobond. That's according to a report by Bloomberg. In the meantime, South Sudan and Uganda they've held their first ever business forum. The idea is a handshake across the Sahel from Uganda in East Africa to South Sudan. And the Central Bank of Mauritius in the week sold about $15 million to the market at about 44.7 Mauritian rupee to $1. In Central African economies, the central bank, the BEAC, says the new range of new silver banknotes and coins are now in use across the region. And the Central African Republic is going to shelve Sangocoin. That's the cryptocurrency that was controversially launched a few weeks ago. Now, the UOMC, which is the Central African Monetary Union, has been able to convince the authorities in Central African Republic to ditch the cryptocurrency if it wants to remain within the economic monetary zone. And that's the latest from there. Well, let's touch with West Africa. Nigeria is dealing with a whole lot right now. Yesterday, the country's Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning did a budget update briefing for this first half of the year, showing Nigeria is now paying more debt servicing than revenue that it has on its books, 1.94 trillion in debt servicing for the first 4 months of the year. Revenue coming in at about 1.63 billion. The net negative deficit, roughly 400 billion local currency. Is a lot of pressure for the outgoing administration of President Buhari right now as he tries to balance revenue that is precipitously low and debt servicing that is rising and climbing on the back of inflation. High, strong US dollar at the global marketplace. Nigeria's Eurobond at the global marketplace is now being priced at the discount. Again, there's a whole lot of pressure on the administration, and it's got to find a way out of it. That's what the finance minister says. There has to be a very quick way to resolve the pressure that the country faces in terms of underperforming revenue and outperforming debt servicing. And it's been Ghana's lawmakers, MPs have okayed plans by the Nana Akufo-Addo's administration to raise a fresh fund from African Bank, $750 million as part of the funding to support the country's macroeconomic condition, food, agriculture, food sustainability, and all of that, as well as stabilizing the cedi against the US dollar. It's been a very naughty week, a record low week for the currencies in Ghana as well as Nigeria. And AfDB's $1.3 billion loan for African farmers is now on this are on the roll to help farmers on the continent produce more food and feed the estimated 1 billion population on the continent. And finally, in West Africa, Burkina Faso, the state says about 30.25 billion CFA franc recovery bonds is now in the coffers of the public treasury. Okay, so let's set sight on South Africa, where let's say Jack Kagyango, the governor of the South African Central Bank, Reserve Bank, yesterday decided the 5-member MP Monetary Policy Committee members voted to raise interest rates, although there were diverse in terms of the size of the rate. One of the APC members voted for 100 basis points. Got a few members voting for 50, another for 75. 75 basis points carried the day, by the way. The idea is to tame inflation, which came in at a very record high for the month of June. Africa's second largest economy, according to Kagyango, will now see economic contraction of 1.1% in GDP for the second quarter of this year. When the numbers come out, it's going to be softer for the third quarter and the fourth quarter of this year. The GDP outlook and inflation outlook were all presented by the central bank, the SARB governor, yesterday afternoon. In the meantime, Anglo-American says his output for second quarter was down about 9%, but believes that there is a stronger demand for diamonds globally will keep the production of the precious metal at pace to meet its previous guidance for the year under review. And retailers in Zimbabwe says they've agreed with the government to price their goods in multiple currencies. The whole idea is to allow anyone who wants to pay for goods in Zimbabwean dollar or in the US dollar or South African rand to be able to do so. Harare is battling furiously to save the currency, his own currency, the Zimbabwean dollar, which was floated some time ago against the US dollar. Economists we've spoken to from South Africa says Zimbabwe will not buckle up or will not back down from its own currency and refers to the US dollar as the fiat national currency. And Vodacom says it's going to hold 100% of a new cell towers in South Africa under a new subsidiary. That's part of the corporate news out of South Africa during the week. And the United States says it's okayed Zimbabwe's plan on its debt rejig, while AfDB okayed a fresh $26.7 million for the Southern African economy, battling currency issues, very strong inflation that's now reading triple digits. Let's go to East Africa, North Africa, to sum it up, as it were, for you, Morocco and Ireland. Looking to boost aerospace and aviation sector cooperation just across the Europe and North Africa. And Egypt's Financial Regulatory Authority has approved the CPEX plan to raise its paid-in capital by 252 million Egyptian pounds to about 1.5 billion local currency. And two qualified military-run companies in Egypt have now been qualified to list their shares on the Egyptian Stock Exchange, that's the EGX. In the meantime, elsewhere, they has also gotten the approval of the Financial Regulatory Authority to cancel about 13.4 million treasury shares. That's the summary today as we head into this third weekend in the month of July. Do have a great day, everyone. I am wishing you a very profitable day and a very enjoyable weekend. I'll see you next time.